Right, today, this one, we're going to talk about how all teachings are meant to control you. Teachings, meaning religions, spiritual teachings, self-help work, law of attraction, your parents' great wisdom, everything that is meant to help you, protect you, guide you, ancient, so-called ancient, everything, 90% is there to control you and limit you, not really help you. But it's given to you by people who supposedly have your best interests at heart, and they probably do, your parents or so on. They love you, they care about you, they want you to be happy, and they don't realize, because they bought it, they bought the stories, and nobody is thinking beyond the surface or to question the validity of what they're being taught, because it's taken, gobbled up, and accepted without thought because of who delivers it. And that, oh, they love me, they trust me, they want me to be better. They tell me this is good for me, so I believe them. So I want to show you a few very clear examples of how religions and teachings and so on, law of attraction, how all of this is meant to limit and control you so that you learn how to think and discern for yourself if something is truly good for you, if it is truly good, period, and in your best interests to follow, or you should question and disregard it regardless of who is feeding it to you and what their hopes and desires for you are. Because, when you go to a restaurant or you eat some food that someone served you and you get poisoning, food poisoning, did they want to poison you? Of course not. They don't want to poison you, but they said they fed you food which they believed was very good and healthy, but in fact had some bacterias or some poisons or whatever in it and made you sick. It was totally innocent, right? Now, can you be angry at that person? No, you cannot be angry at that person. They didn't know. So this is the thing to bear in mind, that you have been fed a lot of very limiting things without finding the original source and intention of these teachings, which possibly have been distorted into something totally different by the time you've gotten it, and that the intentions are pure and good. So you have to bear in mind that people just don't know what they're doing. They don't know what's in the food they're serving you. Okay? All right, so let's look at a few things. Let's go back to the book of Genesis, Adam and Eve. God said, to whom we don't know, we must not let Adam eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, lest he become like us. So right away, we have to look now at the whole Bible stuff. The Old Testament, the New Testament, everything that's based on this, that's based on the original, the book of Genesis, the creation of Adam and Eve and all that story. We've got to look at everything that comes after that includes that, and question, hey, there's something wrong here, because it starts off with, I am your God, the Lord, and I'm the only God there is. Then he says, lest he become like us. If it's an us, it means you and I are the same, right? It's not lest he become like me, or lest he become like you, lest he become like us. So then who are you, the only God, if there's an us? Okay, use common sense, use objective observation to look at things. Now, what happens is, if you question, the priests, the rabbis, they'll say, shush, you don't know, you can't understand. We're mere humans. We cannot understand these things. So what are they now saying? Stop thinking. Don't use your mind. Do not think. Why the hell would they tell me that? Well, there's always a good reason for everything. Good doesn't mean that it's in your best interest, right? But a reason. So why would someone teach their children or followers to not think? I'm sure you can all figure that one out. So we have to question, where are the contradictions? I'm the only God, us. And then we question it, and they say, no, don't think. You're not capable of understanding this. Don't even think, just accept it. Why would they tell me that? Okay. Now let's look at the Pope and the Vatican. Go visit the Vatican or look at it online. And then go to the Philippines or South America, where there are all these Catholics in such extreme poverty. You could not, in your worst nightmares, imagine living that way. You say, well, there's some really interesting things going on here. Okay. Let's go to women and religions and women. In Judaism, up until relatively recently, women were always uneducated. They were not let to learn how to read and write. Islam, well, that's pretty clear what they do to women, isn't it? Christianity, probably pretty similar. So why is a woman prohibited from learning how to read and write? So she cannot get a job. So she cannot earn her own money. So she is forever dependent on her husband. Now, if you have somebody who is totally dependent on you and has no choice but to stay with you, you could do anything you want to her, right? God's a man, remember? I mean, according to, these religions. It's put in the male aspect. It is a man's world. And all of these rules are used for men to control women. Keep them dumb, keep them under control. Okay? Now, why? Well, men are weak or egoistic or whatever it is. So we have to look at this. Now, is it a religious law for women to be covered in Islam? Absolutely not. In fact, covering women and treating them the way the Muslims treat their women is 100% against and contrary to the teachings of Islam, which does say in the Quran and Muhammad's sayings that women are superior to men and must be revered because from them comes life. So we have to look at, now everyone says, oh yeah, I know religion is all made up by men, controlled by men, but then you continue being religious. You cannot stay religious and follow a religion which you know is blatantly contrary to the original teaching. If we look at any of the teachings, Buddhism even, it gets so distorted and so twisted. Buddha said, no images of me, no idols. God, look how many idols there are. You ever go to one of the modern or Tibetan Buddhist temples or, any of the different sects of Buddhism? God, there's Buddhas all over the place. They pray to Buddha like a god. And Buddha said, I'm not a god. I'm not an angel. I'm not a spirit. I'm just awake, which is what the word Buddha means. Buddha means awakened one. In Pali. I think it's Pali, his language. So anyway, all the contradictions. Now, Judaism's pretty good. It says no images, no pictures, no idols, nothing. And the Jews are still sticking to that. You'll never find an image of anything in a synagogue. All right? Buddhism obviously isn't. And look at the Catholics. Wow. Or the Christians. Look at this poor Christ up there. Oh, the cross. Oh, yeah. God, come on. What manipulation, right? This is the Son of God, this pathetic thing on a cross like that? Miserable? No logic. All manipulations. All ways to manipulate people. Incite your guilt. Now, if you look at... Now, okay, well, let's go back. Now, I'm sure Christ, Buddha, Muhammad, Moses, Abraham, I'm sure they were all real. They were actually messengers from the divine source with a real message, which has been distorted tremendously. So there is truth. Now, the way to teach you how to tell a great lie that you'll always get believed on. You want a perfect lie that everyone will believe you, always put a little bit of truth. If you've got a little bit of truth in your story and a lie at the end, everyone will believe that lie. Okay, it's a strange thing. No one catches the lie. They believe the lie just because there was some truth in it. So if we look at the teachings in their essence, they all tell us to eliminate guilt, live in a way that is guilt-free. But if we look at the religions now, they're all about inciting guilt. I'm just telling you, look at everything objectively. Now, when the salesman tells you that this used car is a gem, it's in excellent condition, it's going to run for the next 20 years without any problems at all, you have to remember one saying I learned from getting cheated by a lawyer. Never take the advice of someone who will profit from your loss. Okay? Make that one of your core sayings, your mantra. Make that your mantra. Never take the advice of someone who will profit from your loss. The priest, the imam, the ISIS leader, the used car salesman, the real estate salesman, you will lose, and the more you lose, the more they profit. Cannot trust. And that goes for Deepak Chopra and all the big gurus and Osho, and well, he's dead, he died of AIDS, and of course, and he was known as Rajneesh, for those of you who don't know. And he had an Indian guru came to America. He was actually a friend of mine, went to school with him, grew up with him, and he was a high school teacher in India, and he learned how to do mass hypnotism, and some Americans got hold of him and said, hey, we can market this guy. Brought him to America. So he was a poor Indian. He ended up with 100 Rolls Royces, his own city in Oregon, jets, jewels. You can imagine the wealth that this guy had, right? And the more people believed in him, the more money and power and wealth he had. Deepak is a great example. All these things, okay? Law of attraction, The Secret, the book, the DVD, The Secret, that's making millions and millions for the people who made it. They are profiting from your loss. Now, how is it your loss? They will take your money, very expensive courses, books, and so on, and promise to deliver to you the secrets of success, give you absolutely nothing or very little, few words of truth with a lot of bullshit. You will end up with nothing but a greater hunger and perhaps a happy feeling. And then at the end of the book or the course, they will tell you, in the next one, I'll give you the answers. In the next one. And in Spanish, mañana means tomorrow. When are you going to do this? Mañana. Or the sign at the back of the bar. Free beer tomorrow. When you come tomorrow, the sign is still there. He says, where's my beer? He says, what does the sign say? Free beer tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. So you have to think about where is the gain for someone who is taking something from you. Someone who says, give, or a great one, this guy, blatant false guru in America. He calls himself the master of light and sound. And I listened to his intro talk, and he said, a friend of mine gave me a cassette, and she said, oh, he's great. And he said, the money you give me, and a lot of money people have to pay to be his follower. It's hundreds of dollars every month. He said, I don't get 1 penny of that money. Not 1 penny goes to me. Every penny goes to pay off your karma. Well, karma must pay him a lot of money because he's got his own jet and his own mansion and all the rest of it. So since he doesn't get a penny and this is what he does full time, I don't know who's paying for all of these things he's got, right? So it must be karma. I guess his money management fees or something. And yet people follow and believe. Okay? Now, remember our first law of our religion is take full responsibility for everything that happens in your life. So you've got to take responsibility for what you believe, who you listen to, what you follow, and where your money goes, where your time goes. So if you are not going to take that responsibility and you will follow false teachings, teachers, methods, whatever, and you get nowhere with your life, well, there's a reason, and it's your own fault. I'm here to tell you how not to get sucked in. Before this video, you could say, I didn't know. Okay. So I'm trying to wake you up and tell you how to know, to cut off anyone who's milking you. All right. So everything is about controlling. Look at all the marketing, selling you products, telling you this will make you happy, this will work better, this will change your life. Hey, you know what? We survived for a couple of 100,000 years or whatever it is without electricity. Never mind without toasters and coffee makers and espresso machines and automatic bag folding machines. And Japan, you have to go to Japan and see the bizarre little gadgets Japanese have. And we survived quite well without that. Now, we like electricity, we like our cars, we like our communications, and so on. But there's a lot of other stuff we don't need, but we're told we must have. Okay? So that's not so important as believing the lies that alter your life. So I'm showing you or telling you, please think about everything and find the original source. Now, why do women in Islam cover up? It is not in the Quran. They cover up because when Muhammad assimilated the Arab tribes, the Bedouin tribes used to cover their women because they were violent raiders of other tribes and villages, and they used to raid each other's villages and steal their women. So they took the practice of covering up their women, so when you raided, you didn't know it's a young girl, a grandmother, or what. So it was harder to know who to choose to steal. And it also helped the men hide with the women, so in case the tribe was attacked, it wasn't just a bunch of innocent women there. There were some men hiding with weapons underneath these long black robes, and you couldn't see because all you could see is their eyes. So where does it come from? So when you're criticizing Islam, the religion, because it treats women badly, you are negating the good parts of it because you're saying it's a horrible religion. Right now, yeah, it's a horrible religion. It treats women like crap, and it's very unfair, and it's against human rights, basically. But this is what it is right now. So I'm trying to wake up women, Muslim women, and say, get out of this. Find a way out and start to live like a human being, because you are a human being, and it is only the distorted image of what men are doing strictly to control you and has zero, in fact, 180 degrees to the opposite of what Islam teaches. All right? We have to look at everything and find, where did it come from? Where did this rule or regulation come from? Where is its validity? Jews and Muslims don't eat pork. Muslims don't eat pork because the Jews don't eat pork, and Muhammad took the Jewish religion as his framework to build Islam and its rules. So they copied the dietary laws. So that's why Muslims don't eat pork. Okay? And the Jews don't eat pork because 3,000 years ago, you had wooden plates and no hot water. So your plates would take the bacteria of the pork, it would grow trichinosis, and then anything you eat on that plate is going to be toxic. All right? So damn good reason, but today's different. We got refrigeration and porcelain. So we have to know why, and adapt the traditions to the current world, and that means get rid of things that do not belong to the religion or to our human rights, because if you do not live an equal standard to all humans, male, female, black, white, yellow, green, blue, purple, whatever, if you do not rate every human being with an equal standard, there can be no peace on earth. The only way to have peace on earth is if we all treat each other equally. And that begins right there with you and how you live according to your own standards and rules. So if you are living following rules of a religion or a belief or a guru or anybody who tells you do this, and you have not verified the validity of what you are told yourself, then you are propagating the entire system of subjugating women, or the caste system in India, or any of this crap. You're propagating it because you are not breaking it. So breaking the distorted teachings that are controlling our humanity begins with you as an individual to start to live with an observation and an objective analysis of absolutely every single thing, and never accept anything with blind faith. And in your explorations of all things and discovery of the original source, why something is that way, so you will have understanding of continuing it reasonably or discarding it because it is no longer valid, and you live your life that way, and then you set the example for others. So if we could get enough people to live with objective reason in how they guide their life, it will spread. And this is the way to bring our religion to the world, by your own example. Okay? So look for everything. Question everything. Now, and I'll end this with a great curiosity and sort of explanation why Jews are so hated. Jews are hated because they got the money and they're known for being the smartest race. 40% or more of Nobel Prizes go to Jews. All technologies actually have something in them that was invented in Israel by Jews. Okay? So why are the Jews known as, and apparently through, like their fraction of the world population, but get 40% of Nobel Prizes and are, 40-60% of inventions, if not more than that, are done by Jews? Why is this disproportion? So one Nobel Prize winner in Israel was questioned with this. Why? And he said, well, you see, in our religion, we are taught from young to question. We debate with each other, argue, but debate and question everything. We're taught to question, never just accept it. And so from young, our minds develop with a questioning mind. Why is it? Why is it? And so, of course, we question, why is this work this way? Why is this problem? How can I solve that problem? It's a mind that thinks, that looks for deeper meanings and therefore technological discoveries. All right, so this is what I'm trying to get you to do. Start questioning and looking for answers to everything. And you will find, hopefully, a good change in your life, and you will hopefully set an example for others. Okay, good luck.